Well, we are maybe live. Welcome to Getting Dressed with the Creative Contessa. I am at Penzic. I'm in my luxurious 15th century glamping setup inspired by potentates as Charles the Bold of Burgundy and Queen Charlotte de Savoie, the Queen of France. And so today we're going to be dressing me in the Burgundian high fashion, and I have a lovely lady, my damsel Isabeau, here to assist me, the latest addition to my lovely household of ladies and gentlemen. And so I will be guiding you through this process from starting with already wearing my smock and my braids because I don't want to be demonetized. So there's that. So I'm wearing already a smock, and under this I have braids. And if you debate whether women in the 15th century, 14th or 15th century, wore underpants, I have a whole video essay on the topic, and you're welcome to check out all the information that I have found on that thus far. So if you have any questions, pop them in the chat. I have one of my damsels monitoring this. So consider yourself one of my courtiers for the next however long this takes. So, Dame Isabeau, if you could please fetch me my stockings. So I always, now that I have my smock on, which is made of linen, and it is geometric construction, I've several chronicles out and about making this kind of smock, and I'm in the process of making a new one. I then put on my stockings, my chausses, as they're called in French, calze in Italian. These are linen cut cloth stockings. They are not knit, they are cut on the bias for stretch, and we have evidence of linen in the archaeological record, so plenty of documentation for this.
Sarah Hosketter says, morning from Oregon.
Good morning, or good afternoon almost, from Pennsylvania. Thank you for joining us this morning. So I put this on next because right now my body is completely unencumbered and I can easily bend over if I need to do things to help make this job easier for my ladies. And once I put my kirtle on, my bending over ability gets slightly more restricted because my kirtle is almost skin tight.
That happened here, right? You sound like the police outlaw.
Well, if you consider laundry to be a disaster, then yes. So for those who wonder, we're actually, you're live. Right, so then we put on garters because these will not stay up on their own. And the garters go right under the knees. And I heard someone make the ridiculous claim that ladies do not wear garters, that only men do, and not nonsense. Ladies definitely wear garters. They are, however, not a matter of, one looser, yeah. They're not a matter of attractiveness or any kind of titillating thing. These literally keep my socks up. So yeah. These are made of leather and they have beautiful cast buckles and a strap end. But of course, a more luxurious option for me would actually be a tablet woven band made of silk or a finger loop braided band made of silk, ideally brocaded with some gold. And that is, I do plan on purchasing such a pair. But for now, so here is, just so you see, this is what it looks like with the stockings on. And some of you may have watched the repairs I made on my stockings. And some of you asked, did members of the nobility actually repair their garments or did they simply hand them down? No, they repaired them. We have bills for repairs to all kinds of garments for the Duke and Duchess of, or the Duke of Norfolk, as would become, and the Lady Howard, as was before she died. So yes, patching is a perfectly common thing. Okay, so next we have our shoes, and these.
How do I ban a person? How do I ban a person?
There should be like 3 little dots to the right? Okay, so
Remove a message.
yeah, you can do that too, but it should also let you ban them. But if it doesn't, that's okay. Just remove the message.
I can put them in timeout.
On their icon.
Yeah. Okay, so. These are turn shoes, we call them, and they are called that because they're sewn inside out and then turned right side out because they're super flexible, right? Shoes in this court, in these lands, in this time, are not made with thick, heavy soles. They're meant to be worn with an outer pair of shoes called pattens in English, trippen in German, or pianelle or zoccole in Italian. And so these are basically like leather slippers, you might think of them. Now, I have inside of them a pair of felted wool inserts, and this is documentable in the fact that some of these shoes have been found, extant ones, with traces of felted wool inside of them. And so we suspect that was a way to add a little bit of natural padding. But the nice thing about felted wool is it's also antimicrobial, so it keeps things from developing an unfortunately foot-like smell. Right, so these are very simple to go on. You may have to loosen them to get it on. It's these shoes. I get lazy at 1 o'clock in the morning when after matins has been sung, and I return to my pavilion from a night of delightful dancing and other revelry, and then I literally just slide them off. But unfortunately, it doesn't work both ways. You can slide them off, but you have to untie them to put them back on again. But
Sarah Hosketter says, I love turn shoes. I make them, though they aren't the best, but I wear them in normal daily life.
they are fantastic for people who are trying to get away from the damage caused by modern soles. It is a good option. Yeah. But of course, the problem with, you might have to loosen that one up too. The problem with turn shoes in modern surfaces is that we now pave everything the cities of Ghent and Bruges and London and Paris. They are not paved. Not really. And they're certainly not paved like they are now. And so the surfaces that we must confront now tend to eat leather shoes. So as long as you wear a pair of pattens, and pattens can be made of leather too, by the way, just a thicker, hardier leather, then it would protect your shoes. But yes, Sarah, 100%. I have a pair of Roman shoes that I wear actually because they're quite stylish. Right, okay. So this is, can they see my feet at all?
They can, I think.
Right.
Yes.
Okay, so here is the finished look with stocking shoes and a hose. These are called hose actually in 15th century English. Garter and very dirty. Very dirty leather turn shoe. These shoes have spent 2 weeks living medievally, and you can tell. Okay, so the next layer to go on is called a kirtle in English. It front laces like this, and it's short sleeved, and that's on purpose. So if you could just gather it up and then slip it over my head. Yeah. And this, obviously, I can put this on myself, but why do that when I have damsels? And in any case, it's helpful. So remember that even if you are of middle class, lower class, whatever your societal level is, unless you are an indigent beggar, you have people, right? You've got friends, you've got family, you've got a community around you. You do not live alone. Okay, so you would always have someone to help you. So people often say, well, how did they get dressed like that? Well, they're not living in a single person in a poor little efficiency apartment, never seeing other humans. They're living in a household with 3 to 4 generations with, at least a dozen people, if not more. So there's always going to be a person there to help you. So I think we have to reframe our idea about life in the past to understand clothing from the past. So this is a finger loop braided tie. Lace, as they're called in 15th century English. This is what laces were before the bobbin lace that you all know. It is not pointed. It does not have a chape. It really needs a chape. So I have a reusable 15th century chape. It is laced closed with lacing rings, and these were supposed to be invisible lacing rings, but unfortunately the tailor did not place them far enough in for them to actually be hidden, and also did not place them closely enough for this front to completely close and not have little tiny gaps in it. So if you would like invisible lacing, then your rings basically have to be right next to each other, and then you can basically whip stitch shut the front of your gown. Now this is made of black linen. And that's because it was the lining of another kirtle, and the shell of that kirtle disintegrated, but the lining was fine. But it looks very much like a fine worsted wool when viewed from a certain distance, but it probably should be either a fine wool or a lovely silk. And we know that queens especially had amazing kirtles made of damask and silk and satin and other splendid materials. So, if you want to go full queen, then really splash out. If you ever see ladies courtly ladies of this era, and they have their overgown up, and you can see this beautiful brocade showing underneath. That's the kirtle. That's the under thing. I can't think of any more conspicuous form of consumption than wearing $1,000 a meter fabric under your gown, to only be seen in peaks and tiny quantities occasionally, when dancing maybe, or when holding up one's skirts while walking. It doesn't get more consumptuous than that. Consumptuous, that's got to be a word, right? Consumptuous? I'm making it a word.
Be a lawyer.
The Contessa word of the day, consumptuous. It really sounds like a 15th century word. Medicinable was 2 weeks ago, the Contessa word of the day, the 15th century Contessa word of the day. Medicinal, medicinable. It's not very medicinable, meaning it's not very healthful. So, almost done. You see it actually goes pretty quickly. And it would go faster if this lace weren't so fat and also weren't doubled up, because it has to be laced through a bodkin. If it actually had a proper point, this would go even faster, and I wouldn't be giving my fingers quite the workout that they're getting now pulling it through. So my next plan is to actually make a lace directly onto these bodkins. Any questions so far? Anyone? Proper questions?
Sarah Hosketter said she really finds the short sleeve kirtle to be her favorite look, with the natural linen sleeve.
Yeah, some people ask, I agree, Sarah. Some people ask me, do you dress this way on a regular basis? Yes, but not maybe for the reasons you're thinking. Not necessarily as a pure fashion choice, but because I'm often doing things with you, my court. And so once I'm dressed for the day, I'm dressed for the day. I'm not changing. No one can make me change. I will literally go out into the world. I currently reside in Joseon, Korea, as some of you know it, and I will absolutely go out dressed like this and just do the things I need to do in a day. I don't have the patience to dress 3 or 4 times a day. Not happening. Okay, so next comes the thing that many people have debated for decades as to what it was, but as a member of the court of Margaret of York, I can tell you what it is. This is called a stomacher. This is the piece that goes over the lacing and creates a solid fronted look, so that you don't see the lacing in the open V of the gown, of the robe, the thing that goes over top of this, right? Because we're only, this far is actually considered naked in the 15th century for noble women. Yes?
Amin says, why didn't they use belt-like for corsets instead of lace? It takes a lot less time to wear and it's more beautiful.
To wear a belt?
I don't know what they mean.
Okay.
Belt. I guess they use...
So this is not corseting me. This is my shape. Just let me be clear. Not a corset. This fits me exactly. This is my natural waist. I don't corset. This is just how strangely curvy I am. So it's just that wasn't the fashion. It wasn't the fashion. So the gown was meant to fit on their body exactly like a second skin, but it wasn't meant to shape their body like that. So this is not a corset era at all. The corset hasn't even been invented yet. It doesn't exist. So there haven't always been corsets. Corsets are actually not really, they're called a pair of bodies, by the way. The first one we see is in the early 16th century, and maybe some of you've seen it. It's like this metal cage-like thing. It looks really beautiful, but it also looks horrifying. That's not a fashion item. That's to fix scoliosis. So I just like you all to think about having scoliosis for a moment, and then having your doctor say, I'm gonna put you in this cage, and we're gonna stretch you out and make your body straight through this iron cage. So the very first thing that looks like a corset was basically a torture device for good posture. Not about making you slender, but about literally taking a crooked spine and making it not crooked. And then in about somewhere along the first half of the 16th century, someone gets the idea to actually really stiffen the bodices. And then someone gets the idea, like really stiffen, and then someone gets the idea to put reed boning into them. And that's when you get a pair of bodies in the second half of the 16th century. Before that, there are no corsets. It just doesn't exist. The word corset exists, but it's not what you think it is. It's a man's garment, actually, and it doesn't shape their body. So yeah, good question. Thank you for asking. So this is the stomacher. This is made of silk velvet. And you can see, I don't know if you can see the parts where it's kind of now crushed velvet because of where it's been under the belt, which is kind of corset-like, but it doesn't actually shape me either. So basically this goes on here and it gets pinned in. Pins are an essential part, if you want to go ahead and do this. So the first thing I do for putting the stomacher, and I'll get back to pins in a moment, the first thing I do when putting on the stomacher is I line it up and I have my ladies, I'm just going to move this up here, I have my ladies tell me whether it's straight or not. So, and also even from side to side. So first, is it straight? Let me see, just, okay. Still straight across the top? Great. It's almost like I've done this so much, my hands just know where to go. Then I hold it while my damsel pins it. Now, yes, of course, I can do this myself, but it's annoying. Much nicer to have someone else help you with this part. And yes, these are pins, not safety pins. They're not fibulae. And then another one down here on each side. And yes, people have asked me, doesn't that hurt? No, they don't poke me. The pins do not actually, okay, at one time, I think recently, was it you, my dearest Tedra, who almost gave me a craniectomy with a pin?
Oh.
Not on purpose, but...
You were just like, oh.
On my shoulder. On my shoulder. It was my shoulder. Yeah. So it's only in the putting in process where you might actually accidentally stick yourself, or your damsel might accidentally give you a piercing you don't really want. But once I'm wearing it, I've never gotten stuck by the pins that hold my garments together. And ladies of the court and ladies of the working classes also pin their garments, their layers together like this. This is simply how things were held together.
And for a few people that were asking what country or where would this be worn, this is a Burgundian style.
Yeah, so just so you know, there's no mic there.
Oh.
Yeah, so this is Franco-Burgundian, and actually English noble ladies also wore garments like this. So this is the underlayer. We're still in basically the underwear section of the getting dressed. So next, thank you, my dearest Isabeau, comes a belt. This is called a demiscent, which literally means a half belt. And it's called that because it doesn't actually normally go all the way around your hips, although I have lost so much padding on this expedition, this 2-week fair, that mine does actually close. But it goes around the hips very fetchingly like this. And it carries my aumônière, my pouch with alms for the poor. And in this case, it carries the medallion, my badge for this event, so that if I leave, they'll let me back in. This was not made by Armand Casting. Some of you have asked. This one was made by a Polish bronzesmith. Yeah, so it's made of bronze.
Sarah Hoskeder says, do you make your own pins? Are they bronze, brass?
Yes.
Are they maintain straight ones long?
Yes, so these are... I'll show you an up close of the pin. These are, I do not make them.
On it.
Right here. Okay. So here.
That's not helping.
Really, it's not focusing, is it? Right. I hate his tablet so much because it's not like mine. It's so fussy. Well, anyway, these are made by I purchased these from a smith who works in many different metals, actually, called the Treasury. And I'll be actually interviewing the retired archaeologist who runs the Treasury and makes all the items later on today. So stay tuned for that. Yeah, so I buy mine from the Treasury, but there are different smiths out there who sell them. These are replica. I do not make them myself. I don't work in metal. I'm happy to pay another human to do that. There are certain media in which I like to work and others where wood. I'm happy to let pay anyone else to work with wood. Okay, so we have the stomacher. Oh wait, this just needs to be just a little bit tighter. So we actually pull this back so it doesn't pin evenly. Yeah, so just for the stomacher, because my waist is about 10 inches smaller than my chest. We have to actually pull the stomacher back on the bottom to actually make it fit. Oh, my fault. Mea maxima culpa. And I put the pins down because if you put them like this, you actually could they might actually poke out then and, insert themselves into other body parts like your arm, for instance.
So let me redo that.
Someone was asking, what is your favorite era? Which I think I know this because you dress in this. But...
Well, no, my favorite era, that's a hard question. I don't...
Like personal favorite fashion aesthetics era.
So there's that's hard. I focus on this era because this is an era for which we can document dance and it's still in the Middle Ages and I do love the aesthetics, but I actually like the 15th century mostly because of the combined material culture and social culture and sort of the rituals of chivalry, which obviously only extended to a very specific class of women. But in terms of fashion, I don't think I have a favorite fashion era. I'm a real fashion polyglot. I love all the fashion. I would say that my least favorite is 1920s. I can tell you my least favorite, hands down. It's the 20s. The penisless boy dresses, no thank you. That only looks good on someone who does heroin or smokes opium and has zero body fat and narrow shoulders. I do not care for that completely straight columnar look at all. But otherwise, and around the world as well, there's just so many beautiful fashions. I'm about to start exploring 15th and 16th century Korean fashions in great depth, and I really love that look. But in general, honestly, I like anything that involves a lot of fabric. If it's got a lot of fabric, I'm probably going to love it. Okay, so now the stomacher is in place, the demisit is in place, and I will reemphasize that at this stage I am still what is actually by legal definitions in some places, France for instance, considered naked. We know this from court cases about abductions where it talks about a man abducting a woman and it says in the case he abducted so-and-so and she was all naked wearing her kirtle and smock. So the medieval idea of naked is not the same as our idea of naked, but that isn't a morality that's not a moral definition. There wasn't a moralization of nudity like that. It was just a question of, what is considered appropriate to be out in public, when you're a noblewoman or a woman of means especially. Farmers dress like this, peasants dress like this, and that was what was expected of them, but not members of the upper class, especially not in France, Burgundy, and England. Oh, are we having headdress issues?
Yeah, let's do this.
Right.
We're going veilless.
Okay, we're going veilless. We've shed the veil. Next comes what is in English called the gauna. And in 15th century English, the guna, the gauna, depending on your dialect. In France, it's called a robe, like robe. That's where the word robe comes from. And this is the overlayer. It can be, across the 15th century, it goes from being very voluminous in the body to being very nicely tailored. Margaret of York basically pioneered that fashion as far as I can tell. And it is completely lined in silk with a turn-back silk hem border guard, and it has a very massive train. So this is not a dress for convenience, this is a dress to expound upon one's splendor. Okay, so if you could just bundle it all up. It goes on very easy. This one is very simple. It closes with hooks and eyes in the front, not lacing. This is an era in which hooks and eyes are innovative. Actually, so let it drop first. Yeah. So I put it on and I let it drop first. And then I grab my smock sleeve. So some of you are asking, well, how do you keep your smock sleeve from ruching up? I grab it like this, and I kind of take my fingers and make like a sleeve point. And then that allows it to easily come through. And then, oh no, don't do that. Yeah. It definitely doesn't have to fold back anyway, but yeah. Okay, and then we do the other sleeve. And Margaret of York actually has a gown with a set of sleeves so tight that there's lacing here in the wrist. And there's actually a gap, that's how tight it is. Now, I can do these hooks and eyes up, but honestly, once I get to my rib cage where I can't see anymore, my waist where I can't see anymore, because my waist dents in so far from my chest, that is just easier if a damsel helps me, a companion, a friend. Okay, brilliant. Okay, so now there's some pinning. And that's because when my tailor, me, created this gown, the tailor stupidly did not pattern it over the kirtle. So lesson learned, dear fellow courtier, if your tailor is going to make you a garment, you should make sure the garment is fitted over all the garments that should be worn under it and not pattern it over a more or less bare body. And so now what we're going to do is some shoving and some pinning to get things where it needs to go. So we have now reached what we call, so we're going to shove this down and we're going to pull this up.
Someone had
So it's shove and pull.
the question of how do you reach the belt pouch from the outside?
Oh, that's really easy. Watch, that's a good question. How do you reach? There is no slit. Not there's slits. My great grandmother had gowns with slits through which one could reach. My great grandmother, my great grandmother had gowns through which you could, with slits through which you could reach your ammonia. But this is really easy. Et voila. No difficulty. Yeah, that's a very good question. Okay, so we'll be pinning things in place. So you shove down and pull up at the same time. So shove with one hand, pull with the other. Yes, there we go. And then the goal is to pin through that bundle all the way, including the smock.
There seems to be a discussion about women wearing like warrior clothing or things like that.
Yes. So did women, that's a good question. Did women engage in combat? Do women engage in combat in these lands, in these courts? Not as a regular thing at all. It is not common. It is so uncommon that when it happens, it is remarked upon. So many of you, of course, will no doubt know the Maid of Orleans, poor Jeanne, who was cast off by the people whom she had worked so hard to save. She is absolutely an exception. She is not the rule by any stretch of the imagination. And women wearing men's clothes. So I have, of course, heard of ladies and know ladies who have worn men's clothes, but it was to protect themselves when traveling. It is not something that women do in order to be fashionable or as a fashionable statement. And when they do, pull more up, push more down. You should feel violent and release the inner rage. It is not something that women do that is normal and acceptable, and in fact, there are laws against it in some places if you are caught doing so without a good reason. And the same for men who wear women's clothes. That is common. It happens. It does happen. It is not terribly common, but it certainly happens. And it is also, you will also note it in the court rolls that it is often addressed there, although not necessarily because of their wearing clothes of the opposite gender, just because they've usually, unfortunately, because of violating prostitution laws. Okay. Not that the prostitution is unfortunate, but that is what has been brought them to the attention of the court. Okay, the next layer is the belt of wonder, and this is the belt where I insinuated earlier that it was corset-like because it's a very broad belt. It is leather on the inside, covered in silk damask, and I have a chronicle documenting making this from the very start. The beautiful harness, as it's referred to in the court of Edward IV. This is by the Goldsmiths Armor and Castings, and they made this as a custom piece for me. They will be happy to make you one should you wish it. So this goes on with the buckle. This one in particular goes on with the buckle in the back, and I like to put the pomegranate pattern in the center. So I will, for my dearest Dame Isabeau, I will hold the pomegranate at center, and then she is going to apply brutal amounts of force, which might require the brief inclusion of a second person. And it's because my rib cage is wide and my waist is narrow, and it's just having a curvy figure is not all it's cracked up to be sometimes. So yeah, this can be a bit of a process. And for people who have worn the garment that some people call a corset, you might feel that this is the corseting, but eventually you just grow accustomed to it and it's fine. And the fiddliness is because the eyelets for the holes are a little tricky.
And they go under the belt, it seems. I think we're good.
Brilliant. Okay, so buckle. Right. Okay, so now we have the clothing, but next up, we're definitely not done. My hair now needs to be done. And so, oh, that can't be good. What happened? Why are you limping, sir? What did you do?
Oh, I did a lot of good fighting.
Yes?
My knee just really hurts. I'm gonna go back up to West Kingdom.
You didn't take your medicaments this morning.
I did not.
You did not.
But
Okay, so first we have to do my hair. So hair comes first. So let's go ahead and place the chair so that they can, maybe this way. Yes, so that they can see what you're doing. So right now my hair is in what I call, and the reason we're in the back of the pavilion is because our encampment is full sunburnt until about 2 in the afternoon. So that's why we're not in a more spacious part. We're kind of cowering in the corner, basically. But it is what it is. So my hair is currently in my sleeping braids. And so now we're going to take the ties out, and Isabeau is going to comb my hair. And we're going to put it in a ponytail, what some people call a ponytail, up here. And then we're going to wrap that into a bun, and that will be the way it is secured. And we will use these 2 lengths of finger loop braiding of laces that I have for the purpose. Now, if you would like to learn to make laces like these, which are useful for lacing up your gowns, which are useful for finishing off your hair, for doing various hairstyles, useful for closing pouches, for tying things to other things in a beautiful way, I have a full chronicle providing detailed step-by-step instructions on how to do what some of you might call finger loop braiding, but I know as lace making. And if you watch my chronicles from the day before yesterday, you can see I visit a maker of fine creams and products for the hair, treatments for the hair, Cosmetica Obscura, and I procured from them a lovely hair oil. And so I'm going to have Isabeau actually put some of the hair oil on the comb, and then she will comb my hair with it, and it will help remove any detritus from my hair while also moisturizing my hair and making it smell very fragrant indeed. It is in, oh, so I should have got that out. That's on me. So we have my little chest, and it's the little squeezer bottle that's wrapped. Yes, that one. And the comb, see, I don't know if they'll be able to see it. Is that visible, my dearest Tedra?
It is.
Okay, this is the comb that was a gift from Cosmetica Obscura, and it has a fine tine side and a wide tine side. The wide tine is used for the initial combing to get out knots, and then the fine tine is then gone through again to distribute the oils through your hair, natural oils from your scalp through your hair, and also, in the case of certain of my fellows, to remove lice. Thankfully, I am lice-free, but if one is not, then this should help immensely. Are you well?
I am.
Yes, excellent. It would look very bad if you collapsed in the middle of doing this. Tedra, are you well, my dear?
I do believe so. There are some discussions going on, but it seems to be between people, and it seems to be respectful.
That's fine. Respectful discussions are perfectly fine. I encourage the even lively conversation between my fellow courtiers. However, I will not tolerate abuse. What is it you need, what is it you need, handsome? Where are your spectacles? Oh, wait. Oh. Where do you do not have them? Oh, you do have them. Are you going to show her how to There is, I will absolutely fully accept respectful conversation, even debate, even arguments. I will not tolerate abuse, and I will banish any abusers from my court, full stop.
A lot of people were asking if this is Penzik. It isn't Penzik.
So for those who are wondering, we are here at Penzik 52, a fair held by the Society for Creative Anachronism in Western Pennsylvania. It has a martial component with many varieties of combat, medieval, and otherwise happening out all about historical sword fighting, historical rapier, harness fighting, SCA style stick fighting, massive battles, unchoreographed with 2,000 to 3,000 people sometimes. I'm not certain how many there are in the field this year. A full university with classes on every subject of medieval material culture and medieval history across covering a range of cultures. So it is a good place to come and learn. There's dance classes. Many of you have seen my dance classes as I've shared them with you. And everyone is encamped. And so this is my chance to go full Burgundian glamping. And shortly after this, at some point today, we'll see what time we finish this. I will be doing absolutely 100% the promised tour of my pavilion and my encampment setup here. So you
This is a good question. How much time would you say a lady took to get ready, and with how many assistants?
I can get ready with one assistant, as you see in this ensemble, right? In this ensemble, in this kind of clothing, it usually takes from beginning to end 40 minutes, depending on how much talking and laughing we do. I will say that especially if you have a damsel and your damsel should be a good friend, you are talking and you're laughing and you're not necessarily always focused on getting dressed as quickly as possible. You're enjoying the process. Are you enjoying the process, Isabeau?
I am enjoying the process. Trying to be careful.
And so, yes, I would say that in this ensemble, from start to finish, is probably about 40 minutes if you don't dilly-dally too much. One could rush it, obviously. One could take some shortcuts. I can get dressed in just the underlayers, my kirtle, my smock, my stockings, myself with no assistance in about 10 minutes or less. So, yeah. Okay, and then just take the
Hat is pretty.
thank you, my lady Susanna. Thank you, my lady Susanna. I do believe that Isabeau needs to hear more of that.
I've been a little discouraged. I haven't seen very many gentles wearing my particular headdress.
You are a fashion setter, my dear. Have you and I'm confident you have not seen many wearing my bonnets and veils either. It's not. In fact, I don't think I've seen anyone else.
I've not seen anyone wearing sweaty stuff like this.
Oh, that's,
Yeah.
yes, you all cannot see my condottiero. He has returned from the battlefield. Was the battle concluded?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, so you did not leave because of injury?
No. My knee just swelled up afterwards.
Oh, that's lovely.
And I broke my left leg. So I'm going back up to West Kingdom to get it fixed.
When I don't know if you all heard that, when he says he broke his left leg, he means his left harness leg, not the leg that he uses to propel himself about.
I think it would be more fun if you had to actually leave your leg there.
That's right.
Hop down the hill, hop back up that hill.
Somebody asked, who helps Isabeau get dressed?
Gravity.
Gravity. So as I mentioned earlier, even in noble households, ladies would help each other. So other damsels would help each other. So for instance, the damsel who's currently hiding furtively behind the camera, she would help. There's a hand. Ghostly hand. She and Isabeau would help each other. Obviously, in my court, I don't run such a tight ship, so I am happy to help my dearest Isabeau should she need it. But in the Duchess Margaret of York's court, for instance, she runs a fairly tight ship. Hierarchy is absolutely respected there, and so her damsels would help each other. And she has a very large household indeed. I believe the last count I saw, there were 200 members of her intimate household. And remember that the term household in this case is definitely not blood family. Blood family may be part of it, although usually at the level of a duchess or a duke, they would each have their own separate households, and then their children would eventually be given their separate households as children, not even upon reaching the age of majority. It's a very complex system. Although, that being said, I heard tell in Philip the Good's time, that would be Charles's father, God rest his soul, Philip the Good's duchess became so intimate, Isabella of Portugal, she became so enamored of one of her damsels that they treated each other like sisters and bosom buddies, and they would actually wear Isabella would allow this lady to wear her magnificent garments and headdresses and jewels, and it greatly irked Duke Philip immensely. He was very irritated, but this should tell you something about the power, the actual power of women in these courts. He could do naught to stop her. But it did irritate him that the hierarchy was not properly respected, and that this lady, I think it was Lady Cussy, but don't count me on that, Lady Cussy. Don't quote me on that. That this lady dressed and attired herself above her station, and that she treated the Duchess, one of the most powerful princesses of Europe, as though she were her intimate familiar, and in public, no less.
Further compliments to Isabeau. Susan says, which period is Lady Isabeau? Does Lady Isabeau wear? The blue looks good on her if she doesn't mind a chef's kiss.
Oh, thank you.
I'm also 15th century. She should not mind a chef's kiss. So Lady Isabeau is actually dressed in the style of my grandmother. And I find it very charming, and it brings good, happy, warm memories of my joyful childhood.
Furthermore, one of your courtiers, to the story you just told, says, "Oh God, they were roommates." If you didn't remember that line, that was, and they were roommates. Oh God, they were roommates.
I hope this is high enough.
We'll test. It kind of needs to be there, possibly. We'll see. We'll put on the bonnet, and if the bonnet does not sit well, we will adjust it. If it sits well, then it matters not. So the main thing about this is that the hair is out of the way of the bonnet, and no one judge. This poor bonnet has literally hundreds of thousands of miles under its belt, and it has been crushed by the animals that throw around one's baggage like as though it were not. And so it is now, it's not the round, but it rounds up. Thankfully, it assumes the shape of the head.
Marginalia of that.
We have marginalias. We do. We have marginalia of wild beasts throwing around baggage carts. So, and what Isabeau is doing is she is actually taping my hair, and this is a technique that comes from my native land of Florence, and it is a fantastic way to secure your hair so that it is not subject to the vicissitudes of motion and gravity. And I will say, however, that not many ladies I know in the court dress that way. I'm going to squish it down. Okay, I don't think it gets in the way. I don't think it's pushed. So the question is, yes, it's pushing it down a bit. Yeah, I can feel it pushing, and that's going to make it tilt off the back of my head. I'm so sorry, my dear. You did such a beautiful job. So just so you know, that's why I always try to make sure that the
sank as I sewed.
Yeah. So I would greatly tighten the thing, you can't hurt my scalp. My scalp is not insensate, but I detect sensation in a different way than other people do.
Low over the amounts of weaving I did here.
It may have been. It's very secure.
Yes.
Well, now you can see what it takes to undo this hair taping, and I will tell you a tale. At this very fair 2 years ago, my hair was taped, and unfortunately, come the final morning, I had no damsels left. Well, actually, I forgot that it was taped. This is actually on me. I did have a damsel. Tedra is always there on the final morning, and I forgot about my hair being taped. And so I went home. I didn't go home. I traveled onward, and I went to tarry a while with my Lord Father. Fortunately, he is not a stylist, and so he was not able to remove the hair taping, and there was no one about who could. And so I traveled for 4 more days with my hair and that taping across the ocean, across the great ocean, in a wondrous form of conveyance. And so by the time I finally arrived in a place where I had an assistant to help me remove the taping, actually the taped bun was in fine condition. It was just all the little flyaways that had worked their way out from sleeping upon it. The point is that it's very secure. And that it does.
I regret some things.
Their choices were made. Choices were made that we're now regretting. Perhaps it would be interesting to bring the tablet closer for them to, if they want a closer look. Would everyone like a closer look at what Isabeau is doing?
I don't know if I can bring it closer. I can. Earthquake, everybody.
I'm so sorry.
Oh, I'm having an issue.
I can't even tell where I did things now.
She was so thorough that she thought this should never come undone. Come hell, high water, or death, this bun shall stay. Choices were made. Oh, well, let me tell you some other fun tales about which I've recently heard. Not the miracle of the testicles. I'm saving that for medieval story time. So, I recently heard a tale some 100 years before my time. The city of Bologna was invaded. And the ladies of Bologna, knowing what fate might await them, undertook a most ingenious and yet horrifying method of making themselves utterly not only undesirable, but actively repulsive. Apparently, they took chicken, raw chicken, and they layered the bodices of their gown with it, especially around their chest area. And they allowed it to rot. And so the smell of the rotten meat actually contrived to make it so that the invading army had no desire for any sort of congress whatsoever, not even to be in the same building as them. And so they protected themselves.
I think we've got 3 more stories.
We've got 3 more stories. Good
I
God.
can't tell where I did things.
Goodness, Isabeau, you did a thorough job.
I've never done it before. So I was winging it, and winging it I may have been a little too...
You may have overcommitted. Well, continuing on the delightful topic of rotting chicken and hiding oneself, another tale I recently read in one of the books in my Lord Duke Charles's library. Actually, no, this was Duchess Margaret's library. She is a great lover of books and has a fantastic library and allows her damsels to peruse it at will, which is one of the perks of being in her entourage. See, everyone serves everyone. I am in the entourage of the Duchess Margaret, and my ladies are in my entourage, and so the cycle continues on down the line. In any case, I was reading from one of her histories of the Crusades by Froissart, a chronicler who actually, my grandfather spoke of him and knew him somewhat. Froissart talks about the first crusade, the first time that the Franks made their way to Jerusalem and took the city back. And Bohemond, who led the Franks, fell into great disfavor, and he was usurped from the city. His crown was taken, and he fled, but he was concerned about being hunted down and butchered, as he was right to, which should have rightfully concerned him. And so he contrived to appear dead. He had his death announced far and wide across the kingdoms, the Holy Land. And he actually had himself sealed up in a coffin with air holes bored into it, and to convince everyone that he was indeed a rotting corpse. Again, poor chicken, he had the coffin lined with raw, rotting chicken meat. And so the coffin was borne forth, and the smell, the stench that emanated from it, made no one desire in any way whatsoever to inspect it closer. And so, of course, they loaded the coffin onto the ship, run by which was operated by his own entourage. And so once he was aboard the ship and they had left each of the given ports in which they had to stop on their journey to bring him to safety, he would let him out of the ship. And they would attend to him and they would do the things for him. But then when they arrived in the port, back into the rotting chicken meat coffin he would go.
It's getting easier.
So my dear Isabeau, what are the takeaways from this experience? Could you share them with our fellow courtiers?
Cover, first of all, how to do hair taping before you do it live for the very first time.
So I will actually tell you, I didn't think you were going to do hair taping. I thought you would tell me when the ponytail was done, and then I would tell you how to go from there. For there's an easier no. I will be honest, my dearest companions. I love it when people do style my hair.
I did it.
And so I will sit there all day, and I was enjoying it so much it didn't occur to me.
To not pull your hair though.
what she was doing. Okay, so unbraid it.
I'm gonna have to do other things.
Yes,
I
just-
committed fully.
She did. Oh, she did commit fully.
Yeah,
Oh, I
yeah,
see.
There's lots of knots.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. Oh my goodness was some of the things going through my head. But I don't think I can tell you the rest.
Well, there's delightful expletives by
I'm
the
exhausted.
by the saints' bones,
God's blood.
God's blood, Christ's teeth, all the
Yes.
holy body parts. You can go through a great gamut of
Holy body parts.
all the holy body parts. Make for fantastic expletives.
I will go much higher this time, my dearest Contessa.
Yes. And
Thank you
so
for your patience.
so all you have to do is just make a ponytail, not braided, just a normal ponytail at the base of my skull.
At the base.
No, sorry, crown. No.
Okay.
Right there at the pointy part of my
Be
pointy
much
head.
higher this time and not let it sink as I work.
And you shall not have to tape it at all. I will, it's,
Apologies.
no, stop apologizing. I enjoyed it. Both parts. It was interesting having my hair put up in a beautiful taping and interesting having it ripped out. No, you were fine. It was well.
Should have seen the first time I did it.
Oh, that's true.
I had to put it in 4 times and take it out 4 times. 'cause
4
I kept
times.
getting
Okay, I
annoyed
don't feel
with
so
it.
bad. Well, we're on number 2,
One.
so let's just pretend that didn't happen.
What's that?
Sometimes it's better not to ask about the
Is there wildlife?
wildlife
Fauna?
that inhabits our.
It is caterpillar or an
And
inchworm
very
of some
sticky.
sort.
Perhaps we should remove it from the silk because he might try to nest there and eat it.
I was going
I
to
ain't
here in a
touching
moment.
If you are wondering if there are creepy
sweaty.
crawlies at this event, there are. Be not nervous, my dearest Isabeau.
I'm sweaty.
Be-
So I'm pulling your hair.
Be not nervous. It is well.
It
Are-
is very warm here.
Are there questions? For poor Dame Isabeau, her struggles have been great and she will be rewarded. In fact, we gave her a luxury bed, did we not, Isabeau?
Oh, indeed. I had my first
There
experience
was
with the
a
historical
question
bedding.
further up that was, as far as hair, were greases or oils used to get it still or conditioned?
Yes, absolutely. Oils are applied to ladies' hairs. Yes, we did use a hair oil specifically that is a mixture of olive oil and essential oils to make it smell wonderfully. And this is based on a recipe in a collection of applications and creams and concoctions for skin and hair. Now, how it is applied, I have to say that I have not paid close attention to how my fellow ladies do it, but my technique is to apply it to the comb and then comb it in. Another technique is to comb it into your hair before washing and perhaps comb a little bit more in, and then when you wash your hair, there will still be just enough left to make your hair silky and lovely.
Take 2.
And if the hair is frizzy like this, sometimes a little more oil on the comb, and that will smooth it out well.
My dearest Contessa, can you hold your hair up just for a moment so that I cannot take longer than is? I'm sweaty and sticking to everything. I feel as if I've been stuck in a trap.
You are, breathe, Isabel.
I don't want to pull your hair.
No, don't worry about pulling my hair. My scalp is practically insensate to pain.
Yeah, because of all the times I pull it.
Are you?
And I'm fixing it.
Uh-huh. All right. That should be much higher.
Okay,
I'm hoping.
brilliant. It feels good. So now all you're going to do is just twist the hair. So maybe give it another combing if it's a little fuzzy with a little more oil. And we're just going to twist the hair and wrap it around that ponytail. And then we will take the second finger loop tie and secure it around the bun to hold it in place.
Oil.
And yes, I use this comb or this style of comb. This is the comb I use basically. And I do have naturally curly hair. For those who are wondering, the more humid it is, the more curly it gets. The less humid it is, the less curly it gets. So it works just fine on medium level curls. On kinky curly hair, I don't know. It would depend on how silky your kinky curly hair is, I guess. if you have kinky curly hair, I would recommend looking in places where that kind of hair occurs naturally. Of course, in the East, I do know that women from the Levant tend to have more intensely curly hair than mine, and far more of it in general. Envy, envy, envy. So, but I do know that these combs are also used there as well. So perhaps they are good for that. The only recommendation, of course, when using a comb like this, you definitely do not stop at the top, start at the top. You start at the base and work your way up. Work your way up to the shaft of your hair. And I always grab the shaft of the hair, start at the bottom, and work my way up so that I am not pulling the hair. The comb is going through secured hair, so it can't rip it from my scalp if it should encounter a knot. Any other questions?
Not so far.
I'm losing height.
So for the height, if you just grab this part and pull that way, you'll pull it back up higher.
I keep losing.
Yeah, there you go.
It's not tight enough.
So yeah, I would tighten the finger loop braiding. Yep.
Can't.
Did you wrap around twice?
I mean, I did what I felt like I could.
That's fair. That's fair. Yeah, split it like this and go.
Yeah, I am. You don't feel that?
I mean,
Not up and down, but left and right
I mean,
will help a lot.
yeah.
Because you're trying to make the crown on top for this one.
should I just redo it?
No, look, watch this. Like that. From there, like that. Yep, there you go. It doesn't have to be pretty. Remember, something's going on top of it. It's only in exigent circumstances that this headdress will come off. See, there you go.
Somebody's saying, look at Isabeau's faces that she's making. It's comic relief.
Help me.
Help me.
I need guidance.
You're doing just fine. And my ornator is over there. He can provide. So this is fine. So go ahead and just wrap it in a tight little swirl around this. Yep. Just twist, 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 and it will kind of naturally twist around it.
Far more elaborate than when I did it the other day. She actually parted it into pieces.
Isabeau is a perfectionist. She absolutely is. Fantastic. And then just wrap that around it. Oh, our neighbors are burning disgusting plants again.
Sounds like a skunk got excited.
It really does. Or was struck by a cart. There is a special circle of hell for people who smoke things and allow other people to breathe them in by just doing it wherever. Okay, brilliant. Good. Just goes over my ears. Yes, perfect. And then so this is the bonnet. At least I'm pretty certain this is called this particular style of hat is called a bonnet in English. It's referred to as a tour in French. And that could apply to a great number of shapes. So now we put on the veil, and the veil is front-litted, so it has a front part. And then we pin on, I would pin this first separately, and then pin that next. And if we have a finer pin, the finer pin might work better. So it just gets pinned at the base of the bonnet, of the atour. And then hypothetically, if I wanted, I could go out like this, but I like to add a third layer because why not? Hypothetically, I could go out with just the bonnet, but I prefer something framing my face. It's just, I feel better that way. Perfect.
Seems like a fold.
Yeah, so this is silk velvet. Silk velvet that you can procure these days is 100% silk velvet. Is nightmarish to work with. I think any of you who have done so will agree with me. And so there is actually a good side and a not great side. So just So my lady knows the good side is the part that actually has the top stitching to try to convince it to lay flatly. So that part goes to the front, and then this part goes to the back. And it also just pins, oh, and it might help if you, it might be easier to pin it under the veil rather than pull the veil through. But whatever you think is easiest.
Well, judging from my hair taping, easiest is not always perhaps
Is it,
my
easiest is not your strong suit?
most secure is my strong suit. A windstorm could take you, and your veil would be complete. Here we are. I believe that is good.
Okay, and it is, the lappets are even. So the thing about this that's most important about putting on is ensuring that the lappets, the dangly bits, are even on both sides. Okay, and then we just fold this back.
Let me adjust it just to see if we want it to be perfect.
Right, of course you do.
I don't know if we have connection to them yet or not.
Connection to whom?
He has a
The young man and the young woman who came to the dance class.
Oh,
The reception.
I do not know.
He dropped a brooch here. I saw him carrying it.
Oh, he did?
This is his.
Oh, well, I wonder if we should bring it with us, I suppose, to my dance class. Speaking of which, what is the hour?
I don't know.
Okay.
It
I
is
believe that is
12:58.
Oh, fuck.
What's your day?
1 o'clock.
Do you want to head up there?
Yes. Okay. Everyone, thank you for joining us for this Getting Dressed. I am late for my next dance class. I will try to gather this up and show you what it looks like all together later, but I literally have to run. So until everyone later, adieu. Stay creative.
Okay, how do I
Damn.
end this? Sorry about that. Hard to keep it. Yeah.
That's
Me too. And
I was busy talking.